friends have never been more important than they are today. Everywhere you turn, there seems to be reasons to give up or not even try at all. We want to be the light in these times and an inspiration for others to keep pushing forward. My journey of growth comes through humility, and I welcome all who are looking to grow with me. Thanks for tuning in to the Crew First Culture Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Crew First Culture Podcast. My name is Jeremy, and I want to say thank you for spending some time with us today. Got a couple of great guests on, and looking forward to some good conversation with these guys. Today, I've got Lee Humphrys and Shane Bentley, and they are with the Bearers of the Oath. They've got some social media pages and now getting into conferences and doing a lot of good things, even got a podcast that they are getting off the ground. So without any further, I want to introduce them and let them both kind of give a little bit on a little background, and we'll go from there. Go ahead, Shane.
All right, Jeremy, thanks, man. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having both of us on. It's always a pleasure and an honor to take and be able to sit and talk about how great of a fire service we work for with like-minded people. Man, thank you very much for having us. I've a little bit of bio about myself. Service for going on about 18 years. Northeast Georgia, very top right corner of Northeast Georgia, small rural area. Been involved with, started volunteering and went to work as a paid firefighter about a year after I started volunteering, and fell in love with the job ever since then, man. And it's just, I've been very, very privileged and lucky to have great mentors and people lead me the right way to get me where I'm at today. And I can't say enough about how fortunate I am to be involved with what I get to be involved with the people I'm involved with. So it's definitely a privilege and an honor to be in the positions that we've allowed ourselves to be in right now. So I want to say thank you again for having us.
You're welcome. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Lee.
Lee, I started out, I'm going on my 15th year in fire service. Like I said, same as Shane, small North Georgia department. Started out volunteering, went full-time, or actually went part-time about 2 years later, went full-time a year after that. So just been blessed to be where I'm at now. Met up with some really cool people along the way, and like Shane, he's helped me out more than he knows. I mean, we met in class, and what was it, 2011, Shane?
Yeah, I believe so, somewhere around that time frame.
Around 2011, first time I really met him. I kind of knew of him before then, but 2011 is the first time I met him. Had some connection with him on and off until about 2017, and then that's when he moved up here to this department he's at now. Got reconnected back with him, and it's been the best thing that's ever happened in my career. Seeing his drive and passion for the fire service really sparked me up.
That's awesome. So, that's definitely nice to have, like-minded individuals on your department that you can, and especially somewhere that you can close enough that you can kind of keep that relationship and contact up with. So definitely helps you keep your passion and drive going as well.
Absolutely.
So Shane, 18 years and Lee, 15 years. I've got about a little over 18 years myself. So really similar as far as how long we've kind of been on. Have you, and I'll let you guys get into the whole Bears of the Oath here pretty quick, because that's a big part of why we're here. But I personally kind of spoken on my roller coaster ride of a career, before, is the ups and downs. And you have times where you're super fired up and into it, and then there's times where you're just kind of there and you're surviving and making it to the next day. Do you both kind of share a little bit of that, or have you been lucky enough to remain fired up your entire career?
Yeah, I think honestly, for anybody that's been in the fire service for any amount of time, and I don't know really what the least the amount of numbers is. I think at any point in time, you go through ups and downs. I know I have, but it's a lot of it for me was I was intrigued from day one, and I got involved with the fire department that was about 20 miles from where I live, and I didn't, at the time I did not realize what was actually happening for me there. I was it was a time in my personal life that I didn't realize what the fire service was fixing to do for me. And there has been some ups and downs. I will say there's been a lot more ups than has been down.
Yeah,
it's one of those things, man, where, I always heard that it was what you make out of it. And that's true.
Yep.
That is exactly true, but it makes it so much easier when you're involved with a department, or you got a senior firefighter, or you got a crew or an officer that invests in you and teaches you not only what it is to be a firefighter, but what it takes to be dedicated and spends the time with you to almost breed a culture into you that I didn't realize was happening. And it was later on in my career where I realized what was really happening for me. And
yeah,
I've never been that person that likes to sit and wait for something to happen. So, and that's been good at times, and that's been bad at times. I've overstepped my boundaries, jumped the gun several times as a young firefighter, but I've always been fortunate enough to have that drive and passion and that ass kicker kicking me in the ass to take and encourage me to do better. And and it's with that, it all goes back to a part of where the Bears of the Oath came from, was the people that was raising me up to begin with. My first captain on the first shift I worked on, one of my best friends, he's the chief at the department that I started with at the time. He allowed me to make mistakes and to be very young and immature, and also taught me how to take in make those mistakes, recover from it, and make sure I didn't make it again. And all of that at the time I needed care, because we was there as co-workers at the fire department. He actually cared about me individually and the guy to take and get results out of somebody. The whole path realized that that's what it took, was to care about people, and that it was okay to care about people, because if you care about somebody, I've said it over and over and over, is if you truly care about somebody, they will take and they don't want to disappoint you, and they will work twice as hard for you, but they got to know that you believe in them. And that's exactly what happened for me. And when I got to a point, I guess, I think it was probably 6-7 years ago, probably about around the time frame that me and Humphrey got to knowing each other a little bit. I was in that stage in my fire service career where I didn't really know the path that I wanted to go. I knew I loved the job. I wanted to be more. I wanted to train all the time. I wanted to achieve things, but I wasn't always encapsulated with the right people away from the job. So, I had to, at one point in time, I had to take and remove certain people from my life that they wouldn't personally hinder me. The actions that I chose to do kept me from being what I am now. So, but along the way, I just constantly been lucky enough, man, to get involved with some of the best people and firefighters in the business. And, and this led us to where we're at today. And that's a lot of where the Bears of the Oath came from. And, when I learned how important it was to do and care for people, not only at work, away from work, to know what was going on in their lives, for them to know that they mattered to you. That was easy for me to do because I've always been that person that liked to help people. And so I really enjoyed taking and doing things that helped others, and especially looking for that young firefighter that didn't have maybe the leadership and mentorship that I think every firefighter deserves. And trying to take and encourage him it is okay to love the job. It is okay to work hard, and it is okay to be better. And as long as you stick to your oath and your morals and your values and work hard, to me, it's pretty simple and easy. It's the best job in the world. You see that all the time, but it truly is the best job in the world to me. And what makes it that is the fire service, and then the people as well as I get to be involved with on a daily basis. So I could ramble on and on and on about it, but the ups and downs, they've been there, but I can honestly say the downs were more or less self-inflicted. I've had more. The last 6-7 years in my fire service career has been nothing but ups, and it's the people that I consider it a privilege to take and be involved with anybody that that wants to be around me or that trusts in me, or it's a privilege for me to be able to have that, to be around and be a part of that cadre. So.
Awesome. So Lee, you had mentioned how much Shane has done for you in your career. Is it safe to say, I guess, before that you kind of experienced a little bit of that yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. It's been ups and downs like anybody else in the fire service. I was fortunate enough to get on full time at the department early on in my career. The only downfall to that career, I call it a downfall. It's not really a downfall because it's a stepping stone where I was able to get a lot of the classes I needed. I was able to take off to go do it. But I was at a disadvantage because I was young in the fire service, and we ran single-man engine companies. We had an officer on shift. He kind of floated around similar to like a battalion chief would. So I didn't have that station officer on a daily basis to help me start out my career. So that kind of hurt me early on. But like anything else, I've worked through it. I saw the issue with it. And there's a lieutenant on the other ship that he saw that I was struggling, and he took it upon himself one day at shift change to give me a detailed list of what needed to be done during the day to help me stay on track. Because he's got about the same attention span I had growing up, so he knows where I was coming from. So he took it upon himself. He didn't have to, but he did, and that was my first glimpse into being the brotherhood, taking care of each other. So he didn't have to do it, but he did. So first few years kind of rocky. It was just, but I was able to go, like I said, go get all the classes I needed because I knew if I wanted to move up to a bigger department from where I was, that I was going to need all this stuff anyway. So like EMT wasn't even required. I went and got my EMT on my own, just stuff like that. But having that, I don't necessarily call it freedom in a station, but having to think for myself a lot helped me later on. And so it was when I moved up to the bigger department that I was trying to get on. It helped me out whenever I was in the station because I was able to make decisions. I didn't have to go ask the lieutenant every time or the officer or the senior person, whatever.
allowed you to think for yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think that helped me out a lot. So I that's the positives I take away from it. But yeah, so I moved up to a bigger department. Had a good time there. Good many fires. They had a lot more fires than we had where I used to work. But now I'm at a city inside the county that I work for. I just moved over. And it wasn't the guys or anything like that. It was purely just the administrative staff that I didn't like the direction they were headed at the time. So I saw an option to get out, better opportunity for myself. It's a good department I work for now. We're going through struggles right now too, like anywhere else. We have had a lot of admin change over the past few months, year or so. Just trying to keep up with the fire service changes. But it was, we got our own struggles, but it's we got good direction. We got a lot of good people here, so it's where I plan on being for a while. So, but yeah, definitely a lot more ups and downs over the course of the years I've been in it. So, but yeah, like I said, meeting up with like-minded people, with the Bears of the Oath and stuff like that, it's helped out tremendously. There's so many people that's involved with it, not necessarily directly, but as a group, as a whole. But being able to pick up the phone and call Shane or anybody like that at any time and hey, what do you think about this? It's been great. It's been pretty awesome, I have to say.
Good. And I think you both talking about the ups and downs, and both basically said there's been more ups than downs. I think really you can kind of point that towards mindset. Just because Shane said that the last 5-6 years have been all ups, that doesn't mean that there weren't negatives in that time frame. It was just he has been approaching it with the mindset of saying, okay, this happened today. It was not a good thing, but we're going to keep going. We're going to focus on the good. And I think that's kind of a big thing right there is, man, it's not always going to be good. There's going to be some bad stuff. There's going to be some stuff that you don't agree with. But if we keep focusing on the good, if we keep focusing on the things that are good, then that stuff kind of gets washed away, and it seems like it's good. You know what I mean? And so I think there's probably more to that right there than maybe sometimes we even see.
I think so. I think that you're exactly right. Even though it's all mindset. It's the mindset that, like yesterday, you guys had a day full of you guys had a day full of EMS training, other things going on, but you still had the mindset, and the guys that's on your crew, I was out there yesterday evening, crawling in that training prop, and that right there, the mindset has to come from somebody that encourages and constantly encourages, and understanding that there is days that are a struggle, but if sticking to the mindset that works and that produces positive reactions out of not only you but the people that you get the chance to influence, that helps you overcome any kind of turmoil, or even just a day that he's like, man, I just ain't feeling it today. Or you got guys that come in, and I think as officers, I think as people and officers, whether you're an officer, whether you're anybody that you work with that comes in them doors and you spend 24 hours at a time with, you have to know them. You have to invest in them. You have to know them, because at any given time, somebody can come through that door and life can get in the way. And if you don't recognize that and you don't address that, and they don't know that you're there for them because you haven't reached out or you haven't built that trust in them, it can change the outcome of everything that happens on that shift. And I think it's our responsibility to know the people that we work with well enough and consider them family, to where if they're having a bad day, it don't matter the assigned position they're at, if they're at a big company, if they're at a small company, you might have to pick the slack up for that. And but them not to take advantage of coming in and just feeling like, I don't feel like doing this today. I'm talking about when life and downs get in the way, and then when you realize how positive you can impact somebody's life, it holds you to a standard, because then it comes full circle, because then now you don't want to disappoint the people that look up to you or that are following you or they're interested in you. You don't want to disappoint them. And it works both ways. And that's all it is mindset. And when you care about people and the people that you work with and you care about them, that you not only affect your mindset, but you affect everybody else's. And it's contagious. It's like Chief David Rhodes said, it don't take but one leader. And then all you is one follower. And next thing you know, you created a movement. And it's kind of, and that's what happens. What's always better than one is two. What's better than two is 3, 4. And it just continues. And you can eventually, you create a group of people that you can change somebody's life just by being morally right and caring about them, and not even realize what you're doing for the other people. Because some people, this day and time, it's different in fire service now. People come, the younger generation, it's, a lot of them come from broken homes. They come from they've never known how to work with their hands. They've never known how to do things. But anytime you get somebody that comes to you and comes to your fire department and said they want to be a part of it, so I'm going to tell you right now, you ought to feel blessed, because that's an opportunity for you to take and impact somebody else's life. And the fact that they came to you to do it at your fire department, I don't care how old they are, I don't care their race, religion, or color. At that point in time, what matters is you invest in them to make sure when it hits, that when y'all got the same thing on, everybody can do the same job and do it the best of their ability. And I think that's what we're responsible for doing for each other.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And really, you've kind of mentioned it at least twice, probably even more in the little bit you've been talking, but you've mentioned, taking care of others, caring for those that you're with and those in the fire service. And you even said earlier that if you take care of those that are with you, they're going to want to take care of you. Well, I mean, that's literally almost word for word, the, whatever you want to call it, the motto, the creed, whatever that my platform works off of. That's my message. The Crew First message is you put them first, because if you do, they are going to do everything they possibly can to take care of you and do what needs to be done. And man, I 100 and even more percent believe in that for sure.
Yeah,
it's just human nature. I mean,
yeah, the human nature of it is right. But another thing is the crew first. It doesn't matter whether it's a podcast, whether it's a web page, or whether if it's one person. That's the crew. When you live by a motto and you truly believe in it, and it says crew first, that is impactful to the fire service. There's so many good groups out here right now that they're everywhere. But I truly believe what draws people in that are looking for somebody, or looking for an outlet, or looking for a group or a cadre to be a part of or to follow, you got to draw them in, and there's got to be something that does it, and because with the social media, man, that is the biggest tool and platform you can use. And when you got a statement like Crew First, man, that says a lot about what somebody believes in, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
That goes exactly with what you guys are doing as well. And I've mentioned it several times, and it kind of started with Duffy when I had him on. It's we're different. We're from different states. We are doing a little bit different things, but we are on the same team. Maybe our messages are a little bit different, but we are doing the same thing. Our goal is truly the same. And if that's the case, then we need to be reaching out for others like us and really just do what we can to not only try to further our message, but spread the message of these other people and groups and pages and all that as well, because that it goes against everything we're trying to do if we don't. And so I really enjoy kind of branching out and getting to know other people like yourselves, and just kind of getting fed from you guys as well.
Yeah, we do. I think I know I feed off my surroundings and the people that I choose to follow and listen to and talk to. And I know me and Humpy, we talk about it all the time. And it's that right there alone is just, I mean, that's all the food you need is right here now, and it's easier today to get it than it ever has been. So you're exactly right.
I wish half of this stuff was around when I first started.
Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't. I don't know. Honestly, don't know how all this stuff got out. I mean, I guess it was just word of mouth and all who you knew. But like me and Shane just got back from Water on Fire a few weeks ago, and Water on Fire's been around for 10 years. I had no idea up until about 2 years ago of what it was.
Me too.
So, I mean, I knew about FDIC a little bit. Didn't really know how to get. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I mean, but now, I mean, you can go on Facebook and follow all this other stuff. It's great. I mean, for somebody new starting out in the fire service, is passionate about the fire service. Social media is the way to go. I mean, you can get so much more information out so much quicker. Like I said, I wish I had. I wish it was more prevalent back then.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, and that's again another topic that I've talked on quite a bit, here and there. But I obviously we would not be talking right now if it wasn't for social media. I wouldn't know, the other people and the other places that kind of led me to you and led me to all these other places. Just like you said, it's like there's a journey that brought me to meet you guys, and then me sitting here talking to you guys is probably going to lead to another journey of me meeting somebody else or getting a hold of another kind of group. And it's crazy. It's almost like I wish I could just map it out and just look at it on paper to see how the connections truly work. Cause it's amazing.
That's what we ought to do. I mean, you just nailed it right on the spot. We ought to take and create us a website, or not a website. We all create us a map and just start plotting all of us on there and start putting the links and, the little arrows.
Oh, that'd be cool.
To the net and watch the network just grow. It's happening right under our feet. And but like you said, when you get the image of the logo, the emblem, to be able to pull something like that map, and all of us are right there on it together. And the next thing you know, we're giving them an outlet to say, hey, let me go listen to this guy. Let me listen to this guy. Let me listen to these guys, what they're doing. And next thing you know, like you said, it's common ground. And, and that's how you draw people into you, and and you influence people.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool to have it, to be able to see kind of, I don't know, just like almost a brotherhood network or whatever of groups and people like that. It's a pretty neat idea for sure.
Yeah, it is.
So you guys, you have the Bearers of the Oath is obviously the name of your, I don't know if you want to call it an organization or a group or what, but obviously there's something to that, and it kind of centers around the oath. And Duffy mentioned it when I was talking to him. It truly if you sit there and read it and just think about all that it entails, it truly entails and covers everything. And it's a pretty cool deal. And I know that you guys put out shirts and things like that with it actually on there, and kind of go into just what that means to you guys.
Go ahead, Hump.
Go ahead.
Um, where it came from was somebody along the lines I heard in a lecture at FDIC one time, that labels don't make people, labels perform what people think of you. Something to that nature right there.
Yep.
And I got to thinking about that. And I always, and this has been over a period of years, and I always got to, that always stuck with me for some reason. And like I said, I've had a lot of the fire service has been more than generous to me. And I've been overly selfish with the fire service. And when I say this, I'm not bragging and, putting my family on the back burner so I could go be me and do the things that I wanted to do. And all over when I wasn't on shift, being gone, conferences, training, different fire departments. And it was, and I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for my wife, none of this would really, I don't know if it would all be full circle, because my wife and kids have allowed me to become what I have and be involved with so many people. So I took, about 4 years ago, I took and started writing down things that personal failures, every one of those on the back of the shirt, the motto, the oath, the creed, every one of those are personal failures of mine. And when I started writing them down, and it got to be to a point to where, I said, I can create something with this. And first and foremost, I'll tell you, I did it very selfishly over the last year. It was done for very selfish reasons. And I know that sounds horrible, and I'll explain that. But I took in every one of those failures that I wrote down about myself. Some of those took some time to deal with. Some of those took some time to understand. And, pride gets in the way sometimes. But once I really started putting them on paper and accepting my failures and responsibility, I took in one night, I just translated it into what it is. And, I put that motto with it, or that fire service terminology with it, the save lives, protect property. That came from me being a terrible father and and not being there to take care of my family and my kids. That's where the save lives, protect property came from. And that's how I translated that, showing it to people that I looked up to and mentors of mine. And, they encouraged me, man, you need to take and do something with that. That's, it's all over. So, it's nothing new. None of the stuff on there is nothing new. But when you become a person that people look to, or they listen to what you say, you can impact people. And I was real timid with that at first, and I was, I didn't want it to be no personal benefit. And as the more I thought about it over the last year, I took in I got, a lot of it transpired from where I'm at, the department I work at today. I went from one department to this one. I was at for a long time, and I learned a lot about myself, and I realized how quick I could impact a fire service in a positive manner. And so I put what's on the back of that sweatshirt. I done it very selfishly. I took and started showing it to people, showed it to Humphrys, showed it to a couple other guys, and I put it on the back of those sweatshirts selfishly for myself. And that was the reason being, I knew people would wear them. And the reason I say it's selfish was because I knew people would wear them. And every time I turned around, I would see it. And I needed that for those days that the mindset wasn't right. Or I was, and
Yep.
I needed that kick in the nuts or that punch in the face. And I knew if I put it on the back of a sweatshirt that I would have to hold myself accountable 100% of the time. And
Yep.
I started, I started watching people like Lee, other guys that influenced me, Scott Sanders, Jonathan Jordan, which is captain he was my captain at where I came from. Another guy, Richie Tebow. And those were the guys that something about those guys, all of those guys right there just took and just drew me to them to show them. And the next thing you know, we took in this, it came about. I didn't expect it to be what it is now. I'm proud of it. But at the same time, you have to make sure you're involved with the right people to carry that too. And every one of them hold me accountable and kick me in the balls all the time, because that's exactly why I done it. And
Yep.
it would not be nothing that it is without these guys. I'm no better. I'm no different than none of them. And it's the last thing I want to do is disappoint them. So I knew every time I see the t-shirt or the sweatshirt and as it's grown, I see it daily. And I knew that, I'd see it and it would be some days it's, most days it's very humbling, but some days I need that kick right in the nuts.
Yep.
And that's what it does a lot of times. And I knew it would hold me accountable. And that's kind of where it came from. And I didn't realize that, the outlet that it would create, kind of like Crew First and it's kind of like the whole mapping system that we're doing. The network, we always heard network, right? When we were, young in the fire service before we have what we have now. And
yeah,
but I didn't understand what network meant till today. And and it goes back to, you don't have to have a label to identify you, but a label can change everybody's perception of you. And that's just another thing that holds you accountable. If you're preaching the word, you better be living it.
Yeah. How about you, Lee? Is it a pretty good accountability tool, like Shane is saying?
Yeah, it helps me stay on track pretty much all the time now. I mean, there's days that anybody else free going to work, you just don't feel like doing anything. But we're not all perfect by no means. But where it really hit with me was realize how big this is. I mean, I see everybody that gets approved on the page, all that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, every once in a while I'll look over their profile, to see. A lot of times you can't see a whole lot of it because they're not friends or whatever. But where it hit with me of how big this was in Pensacola a few weeks ago. I think we're out by the pool, and some guy brought over a challenge coin. I was like, I collect challenge coins, so I said, hey, you got another coin you want to trade for? I said, we got this group we have, Bears of the Oath, and he's like, oh yes, I've heard of you. And I was like, okay. I said, you don't mind me asking? I said, where are you from? I said, I'm from Texas. I said, wow. I mean, I know there's people in California that are on the page and stuff like that, but to actually meet somebody in person from Texas that's heard about it, that's pretty phenomenal. And going through and just going around the conference, seeing everybody talk about it and actually hear people talking about it, seeing the shirt, having people like Kyle Romingus talk about that, that's a powerful statement back the shirt. He talked to Shane about it. So that just speaks volumes for what we're doing. We're by no means out to get anybody's approval for our group of Bears of the Oath, but to have people on that level come up to you and say stuff like that means that we're doing something right. So
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel like it can get confused with wanting fame or wanting the likes and the downloads and to be known and get your name out there and all that. But really it just comes down to, man, when you have somebody that you look up to that you may even put at a different complete level as yourself, when you have them reach out to you and kind of give you an attaboy or whatever you want to call it, to tell you how much they like what you're doing, that's powerful, because it just helps you know that this is somebody I truly respect and they like what I'm doing, so I've got to be doing something right. And I think that's it's important. It's important for people like us that are doing something like this, because it helps us to stay motivated. It helps us to stay, to keep pushing and all that. So I
yeah,
totally agree and know exactly what you're talking about.
absolutely.
I agree with both of you. It's man, just to be able to sit and it was I think it was just last week. One of the guys I work with, I walked in that morning, and he pulls his picture up, and he shows me. He said, "Man, look what they done with that door." And he's talking about y'all's door that y'all just took in y'all's training prop, and how you took the woods kit and done that. And we've got a woods kit, and and the motivation of you doing what you guys do and posting it, they seen that to where, I shit you not, yes, last night our door was broke completely down and being sent off today to be modified. And that's how impactful and encouraging what you guys do at Crew First, and how you talk about it's not just your department, it's the guys that you work with, man, and how much they mean to you. That right there is the influence that I want the people that I work with to get from the fire service. And it's very, very, very inspiring, very motivating. It's fueling too. It's very fueling to be able to sit and, I think I could sit all day long with a group of people I've never met in my life, and sit there, and we're associated through genres like we are right now, and then to learn about them personally and their families on top of that, to know what they come from, what they believe, and what they think, and then to learn about their personal lives and their families too. Man, that's just man, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's kind of it's, and I've said it before, but that's one of the reasons I have kind of kept going and pursuing all of this, is because I've had people in my life here in the past couple of years on my crew that have kept pushing me, and it may even be a quiet push of not really. I didn't even know it was happening, but it's almost like he's a mental genius and just knew what to do to kind of keep me headed in a right direction. And it's kind of kept me going. And now I have a crew of not only one person that is pushing me, but a crew of four other people that are bought in. And, like yesterday, you brought up yesterday, we had just it was a draining day, and it came around to 4 o'clock or so. And it was like, if we don't move right now and do something physically, then we're not going to get anything done. And so it's almost like you've got 5 people. Hopefully at least one of those people every day is going to push somebody, because you're not going to be fired up every day. I like to live by the creed of wanting to train or wanting to do something every day. But man, it's a lot harder to actually do it than to just talk about it. So having some other people to back you up, to hold you accountable, to push you, that's where you get from being a good crew to really going above and beyond and really stepping out and being a great crew right there.
That's right. That's that. I guess that's kind of one of the things that, and Humpy's a really good example of this for me. Was I've never been the quiet guy. I've never been the guy that liked to finish second. And that has a lot of arrogance to it. And how I portrayed that a lot for years was most of the time it was with a nonchalant, it didn't matter attitude. But as I've learned over the years how impactful I could be, I had to take and make sure that I was doing for the ones I truly, per se, cared about and liked, and the ones that I didn't invest in. And when I started doing that, and I started taking and investing in as many people as I could, and really getting to know them, it's the most humbling thing you can do, I think, is, other than being a husband and a father, is impact somebody else's life and save somebody else's life. And to be able to do that, they're kind of the same. It's really similar to what you can do just by caring about somebody that maybe months before you never, and it wasn't more than a punch in and punch out passing, shift report, and that was it. And now it's, what you end up doing is you're creating a family-like atmosphere. And
yeah,
it's I don't know, it's the most humbling reward you can ever. And then so the self-evaluation comes, and my true reward is helping others and watching them succeed, and even watching them fail at times, to watch them recover and to care and invest in themselves enough to want to understand why they made mistakes and how to take and not let the mistake be the end of it, just be that mistake and not a bad. That's when I really started learning how to look for that involuntary leader. That guy necessarily might not be the officer, might not be the senior man, might be you don't realize how many involuntary leaders they are right there in front of you every day, and that look to you. And if you don't invest in them like you do others, you're robbing them. And you're taking something from them, and you're taking an opportunity from yourself to be able to take and bring them somewhere that they've never been and build confidence. And that's happening. It's when that starts happening over and over and over, the reward from that is irreplaceable.
That's the involuntary leader. I don't know that I've ever heard that term. That's a good one. Put out that last little Monday podcast I put out. It basically talks kind of what you're saying. That there are two groups that I feel like we really need to start addressing more in the fire service, and it's the uninspired, and it's the directionless, and it's two super ends of the spectrum. You got one side that are probably seen as more of a lazy, just don't care type group, and then the other side is more, at least what I'm talking about, is over passionate and just in your face and kind of challenging authority and things like that. But really, you can turn those problems into opportunities if you truly take the time and be a good leader to them and really tap into what they have to give, because it's not just the Shane Bentleys and the Lee Humphreys that are fired up that can do good things. If we just focus on the people like you, we are truly doing a disservice to the fire service, and we're just it's a bad thing, a bad habit to get into. And so we really got to branch out and find those people that may just need a little nudge, may need a bigger nudge. But man, there's so much opportunity out there, and we just got to really look out and find it and do something about it.
You're right. You're exactly right. That's that the reward from that is watching, like I was talking about Lee a minute ago, watching when you're impactful in a positive manner, and other people benefit from it, and it builds confidence in them. They come out of their comfort zone. So we're all really good about staying in a circle that we create. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small, but what I had to do with myself is pull myself out of my comfort zone and never get back in that. And to watch guys like Humphrys, some of the other people that I get to work with and talk to on a daily basis, to watch all of them do that on a daily basis, because you encourage them. You know, it's I told I was talking to somebody before, and I said, they told me they said you're really good at manipulating people, and that's a terrible word. It really, but the thing is, I said, you know, you're right. I said, because I love to manipulate people and not trick, but manipulate them into doing something more for themselves than they've ever done before. And it's simply doing it because you spend the time to let them know you care about them. And when you start seeing that, and they start coming out of what they would normally do, and they start doing things and a little different, than they're impactful. People can say recognition doesn't mean shit. It does mean a lot, because when you're doing good things and the right thing, and you're helping other people, and how it affects your ego and how you feel that to everybody else. Recognition can be the recognition you get for doing something, can be the change in somebody else's life. And so I kind of said, you know what? So we'll be really good at the art of manipulation for a positive outcome. So you take manipulation, sounds terrible, but you throw positive behind it. Now it doesn't sound so bad. It's kind of meeting in the middle. And sometimes you really have to just manipulate people and trick people to let them see and realize what they really are capable of.
Yeah.
I'll say that a crew, somebody that gets appreciated for their work, is always going to do more. But back to what you were talking about the having the fired up crew and all that stuff. Went and heard Mark Van Oppen speak 2 years ago, something like that, and he talked about having that crew that just kind of coast along. You don't ever hear anything about them. Just your ordinary, everyday crew that, you know, they're out of the limelight, they're out of the spotlight, whatever you want to call it. Actually show up, and when you get the perception from other crews, like, oh, it's just our slow crew, whatever, you know. But they show up and do an extraordinary job. And then you walk up to them, and you're like, what is that? I mean, where'd that come from? You know? So, I mean, I get that. Like, you can have crews that are low key. I mean, they train, they do what they're supposed to, but they don't push it. And then you got the opposite crew of they're the pit bulls and bulldogs, and you got to have choke collars on and pull them back, and they're both equally good. But for them to show up, and which he was talking about, they showed up on a fairly strenuous fire they had, and they performed to the max, you know, and just caught them all by surprise. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of mixed here. We have a lot of people that there's several times I've been outside by myself doing training, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But every now and then we pull together and get some good training in. So
I think that's it is what it is, and that's kind of something that I have definitely had to learn here lately, and I think I would call that an area of growth in myself, is that I started out kind of taking it personal if I wasn't getting buy-in, if I wasn't, getting involvement in what I was doing. But then I started thinking, why does it matter? I'm I need to do something to fulfill myself and make me feel good about the day and that I learned or grew or whatever. But that's me. It might not be these other people. And so, if it's something that we have to do, okay, we're doing it. But if it's something that I'm just doing because I need to grow or whatever, then, if I'm doing it by myself, okay, that's fine. I want to do it with other people, but I'm not going to allow the uninvolvement of others to take away the opportunity to grow for myself. And so, and you doing that, you being out there by yourself, it will translate into, others kind of getting involved sooner or later. It might take a lot of time. It might not, but eventually you will start to get, one person out there with you, another person, kind of like Shane said earlier, two is better than one and three is better. And it just, you doing the right thing sooner or later will translate into you teaching others to do the right thing. And so that's something that I have definitely had to learn here lately for myself.
I look at it too as it's almost like dealing with somebody that I guess on a extreme level, but like somebody that's addicted to drugs or something like that. Like, you want them to do good, and you want everything to be good for them, and you want to help them. But if they don't want to, they ain't doing it. I mean, it's like
Absolutely.
old saying goes, I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I mean, so, I mean, no matter how much you put forth, how many times you sit there and say, hey, let's go outside and do some training. Hey, let's go do some training. Hey, you want to go do some training? No, not today. I mean, if they don't want to do it, they're not going to get up and do it. I mean, that's just plain and simple. I mean, so, sometimes you have to go out there, like you said, go out there and do it by yourself. Make it, at least you feel better about the day. I mean,
I think a lot of that goes back to, the fire service in my eyes has changed more in the last 10 years than it has in the last 50 years. And I think that I think that as a fire service, just because the way it always was doesn't mean that's how it has to be today. But also there has to be a fine balance in that too, to where you don't erase history and traditions either. And I think you can be effective at doing both, but it kind of goes back to that art of manipulation. You got to take, when we've done a terrible job as a fire service, and it still continues to happen, of not investing and encouraging and laying a standard down. When somebody comes to work at your fire department and they work there a year, and all you hear out of them is, I make $10, $12, $13, $14 an hour, and they want to jump the fence to go cut grass for another $1 an hour, you have failed. You have absolutely failed as the opportunity of being a leader, because I promise you, there's nothing going to change with $1 an hour. And we as a fire service have to be better when people come in, new people come in, whether they come to you from another department or whether they come to you at 18 years old. We have to be very, very, very sincere and very true when we explain to them what it takes to work at this fire department and what the standard is. And the standard is not to be deviated from. The standard is to take and encourage and and grow the standard. But that is a lot, because it's we're not numbers. We're firefighters, and we got a job to do. And they have to be educated on why it's important for us to take and do our job. And it doesn't matter if it's the truck, the gear you wear, and understanding what you're going to. They have to understand that standard. But if they're not taught a standard and they're expected to uphold to it, that's not just their fault. That's our fault for not taking it and branding that standard into them. And I don't want to be looked at as just every other fire department. I don't want to be looked at. Yeah, you're always going to have naysayers, but I want our fire department and our fire service to be looked at as it's the best job you could ever have. And same with training. It's hard work. It takes time, but most folks don't invest in training or don't enjoy it. I love it. I have a hard time understanding why you would not. Yeah, some days are tough, but once somebody starts getting confident in something, and I don't care if you have to spend 10 times or 2 weeks doing it. Once they start getting confident in themselves and doing something and accomplishing something, they're going to start building trust in themselves and trust in you. And they're going to want to do a little bit more, but you got to be able to push them and encourage them. And we fail at it as a fire doing that consistently. There's not enough of us out there trying to do that. And, saying some people are okay with that. And that is the difference between looking at it as a job and looking at it as, as the best job in the world.
Yeah. What you said right there that talked about you've got to give your expectations and not expect them to follow them if you don't. Well, that's so big, and it's not fair for these people to be held to expectations or held to standards or whatever if they don't even know what that is. I mean, it's crazy to expect that from somebody. So I totally agree. Getting your expectations out, and not just from a standpoint of me being an officer and telling my driver and my firefighters what I expect from them, but to sit there and ask them, okay, what do you need from me? What do you expect from me? And not just let it be words, but actually sit there and absorb it and really take note to what that is, because that's going to build that respect. That's going to build that relationship, and that's going to really cement the whole, taking care of others, and they're going to take care of you. And so it's big.
That's where I started out. I didn't really have an expectation. Well, I had an expectation, basically do your job, but I didn't really know what that was per se. Yeah, I was getting all the stuff done that was on the list of stuff to do, but was I doing it effectively? Was I doing it the right way? And then
yeah.
But then when you get in trouble, or they come to you with a problem, it's like, why didn't you do this? I mean, I'm out here, trying to get by.
Wasn't on my list.
Yeah, our day was from 8 to 5. We had busy work from 8 to 5. Let's say, I always get it done between 8 and 5. No, it may have been between 8 and 8, or 8 and 8 the whole shift. So, but where I'm at now, we stay fairly busy with calls and stuff like that. We're not as busy as our bigger cities like Atlanta and stuff like that, but we have a little more freedom to not necessarily have a set day-to-day routine. We do all our chores in the morning, so nobody can say that they're having to clean up after us, because everybody cleans up after everybody. If that makes sense. So,
yeah.
But as far as but they look at it from us as, if I'll be honest with you, the truck I'm on, or the station I'm at, we normally don't sleep all night. So, and it's one of those things. Everything's done, and you want to sit around. It's basically your time.
Yeah.
So do with it what you want.
Yeah.
That's good and bad, in my opinion, because that gives everybody freedom to. It's good that you get free to do. So, like, I'm gonna go work out, I'm gonna go train, do whatever. But it's a lot of people use it as a disadvantage, and I'm guilty of it some days. I mean, I can't sit here and say that, I don't sit around some days and watch TV versus I can get up and go training. That's where I lack, and it's a downfall of mine a lot. Sometimes, not all the time, self-motivation to get out and do things on my own.
Yeah.
I'm big, and Shane knows that I'm big into being part of a group activities, where I strive more on, or thrive more on, being a part of a group than I do on my own, and that's just it's just the way I am, and it's the way I operate. Where some people can go out and be self-disciplined enough and be on their own all the time, and that's not me. I'd be lying if I said that I did that every day, but so
It's tough.
it is. I mean, it really is. It's hard to. I mean, because it's real easy to sit down and kick back every once in a while, So, I'm hoping. We're not really in a bad location where our station's at now, but Monday we're moving into our new station. We just got built. They relocated and redid our station we're at now. It was built in 1954. Feels like a fire station. I love this station. It's got that fire station homey feel to it. So I'm hoping that this new station helps spark a little bit of drive. Because we're getting an extra piece of equipment. We're getting a 107 foot tiller in our station. So I'm hoping that it sparks it. We can go. I'm a engine guy at heart, but I'm a closet truck guy. So I don't like to. So I'm hoping that kind of sparks some of this, gets us going again. So something new to train on. We got a lot of guys out here that they enjoy rope stuff, but there ain't a stick of rope on our truck. It's all on the rescues and the ladder trucks. Well, we're getting a ladder truck, so we're gonna get rope equipment now. So, I don't mind rope stuff. It's just not my cup of tea all the time. But it's good to know. I mean,
sometimes you get that little bit of a change if it's getting a new station, getting a new apparatus, getting a new firefighter, whatever it is. That I have seen personally that is it can be a huge shot in the arm, and that's it'll really help, hopefully help you guys out for sure personally, but definitely different situations. It's a good opportunity to use that and really kind of propel you into a little bit better situation. So hopefully that'll work as well for you. So you guys have got a conference coming up. I wanted to make sure that I give you guys plenty of time to kind of tell us about that, give us a where and a when and who you got coming and all that. So tell us about what you got going on there.
Go ahead.
I thought you said my name. Go ahead.
I did. I said, go ahead. It's this will be the actual first annual Bears of the Oath conference, with that label attached to it. This is the 5th conference that we've done that I have been, and Humphrys been involved with and associated with too over the last 4 years. And we've had previous, phenomenal success with them. But this one will be it will be under this label, of course, the Bears of Those conference, and it's a 3-day conference, October 2nd through the 4th in Jefferson, Georgia. It's about 30 minutes north of Atlanta. It's be at the Jackson County Live Fire Training Center, or the training grounds. Beautiful complex, man. That's where I actually just left this morning out there with a couple of the chiefs, and I don't know who was more excited, me or them, just to know what's fixing to take place, because the last thing that we were really heavily involved with, and we're pretty aggressive in training and burning on a regular basis, and it's been since the last conference we done in March, and this is we're talking 6 months, too dang long, yeah. So and we talked about doing it in August, and with the COVID stuff and some other things that were going on, it didn't go, and there's been so many people that said, when you do this, and so we said, you know what, about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, so you know what, let's do it. And because of how fortunate we are with the network and the relationships that we've got, Jackson County I didn't realize how excited they were till this morning about hosting this event. And so as of right now, this morning, we were sitting down looking at it. We've got like 108 students. These people coming from Jacksonville, Florida, Alabama, all over North Georgia, Northeast Georgia, Northwest Georgia. It's just some of the absolute best instructors that you could ever learn from and get to listen to. And that's one of the things I do take a lot of pride in is these conferences that we've done. Nobody ever leaves with a bad thing to say, because and that truly comes from the culture of the instructors that's teaching them. And because these guys really do, they love the fire service, they love the job, and they love teaching other firefighters. And so it's going to be fun, man. And I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. I can't get here soon enough, but we'll start out on Friday morning with, we got 3 classes going on Friday. One of them will be a can confidence class. I throw the label on it, the Oathful Can. It'll be a can confidence with thermal imaging techniques and split and oriented search, basic engine work classes. And we'll have Humphrys, he does ladders in it. We've got forcible entry in it, can work with live fire, and then, of course, camera and oriented and split search all in one class. And going on outside it on the training grounds will be stretching and leading from the front yard. And you'll have retired Chief Todd Edwards from the city of Atlanta there, and Chief Alan Griffin from Carolina Beach, North Carolina. They will be there. They'll be the instructors in that. And then we'll have a paratechs coming in, Georgia Fire and Rescue's sponsoring that class, hosting that class. There'll be a lift and stabilization class on Friday as well, and it will take place Saturday as well. As also, we wanted to take and do the same class twice, Friday and Saturday, to give people the opportunity that might be on shift and couldn't get there Friday to be able to afford that opportunity to come on Saturday as well. So it's that's Friday. Big, starts the weekend out. Got Mark Alone will be there. He's coming in. He's going to help us out that weekend. And Saturday morning we'll kick off with first new firemanship, which is Jay Hurley, Jason Painter, Bremen, Georgia training. It's a phenomenal class. It sold out MAFC in like 47 seconds last year. So it's just a phenomenal class. Man, anybody who gets to take that class, opportunity. And we've been fortunate enough to be able to take and help out with it and teach it, be a part of teaching it, helping with the live fire part of it for the last 3 years. And so it's those guys, Chief Hurley and Lieutenant Jason Painter, man, all those guys from Bremen, man. You're talking about networking and guys to reach out to. Those 2 guys right there in that whole Bremen Fire Department, man. They're just if you don't follow Jason Painter on Facebook, you should, and just go watch their daily work on ship. It's amazing. So, but the whole guy, all the guys from Bremen will be there. That'd be Saturday. That'd be first due firemanship. I think we got 38 signed up for it already. We'll have 40 in the class. You got guys like Don Sapp. He's retired fire service, 35 plus years. He's one of the instructors. Corey Thompson, man, you got some of the best guys that you could ever have the opportunity to learn from. And then those would be the two classes that happen that day, the Paratech class and first due firemanship. And then on Sunday, we'll finish up with Rid or Die. And it's pretty, several of us have gotten together, and Brian Altman, one of the guys that helps out with the classes, he's a training captain in Tipton, Georgia. It's pretty intense and pretty nasty RIT class, and it's down and dirty, and it's that'll cap the weekend off on Sunday, and we got guys coming from Jacksonville, Florida to take that class. So guys like Robbie Townsend, which is the lieutenant, he's a lieutenant at Dalton Fire Department, which Dalton Fire Department's got a lot of tradition and heritage from the Georgia Smoke Diver program. It's humbling to me for one reason in the Down and Dirty RIT class, because Robbie created a class called Down and Dirty RIT for NAFSI a few years back, and to have him coming that week.
Down and Dirty.
Huh?
Well, yeah, it was firefighter safety and survival. It's
right.
Same kind. It was a jam up class. I actually took it. Loved it. Great class.
To have guys call up and say, "Hey, I'm coming to the conference," and the phone conversation went like, "Yeah, man, that's awesome. We need you there to help us." He said, "No, I'm taking classes." So it's I was like, whoa, you step back and you go, all right, so it makes you feel really good about some of the things that we're doing and the people that want to come be a part of it. Man, it's so overwhelming, humbling, and to watch people like these guys that I've known that are part of this, and watch them to stand back and be able to watch these guys take and grow and become what they become, and to teach other people, and they take that back as the word because they trust them and they believe in them. Man, that's that reward I was talking about. Just for me to be able to stand back and watch all happen, not necessarily have to be the main, be right there in the middle of it. That is such a feeling of reward. So, man, I'm excited about it. I know Humphrys. It's going to be a great weekend. Our motto is we don't tell nobody no. Anybody's welcome to come, and we'll take, and there ain't no limit to the classes, because if somebody shows up and wants to take and invest in a weekend like that, they're there for a reason, and it's our diligence to take and give them every opportunity and the best we can be to help them to be better in their service. Yep. So it's going to be great, man. It's fun. I'm excited.
Awesome. Sounds like a good time. It's actually several people there that I truly have a lot of respect for. So you definitely are on the right path of doing some really cool stuff there. So hopefully get to get up there sometime in the future and try it out myself.
Man, you're welcome to come anytime, bring your family. That's one thing that we really tried to stress with this conference. Because, man, it's to create that family environment within fire department, fire service, and training, incorporating, if people want to travel and come to these things, man, make them feel welcoming to bring their families with them and accommodate them after training, have big suppers and big cookings to where everybody can fellowship. And to me, that's just as much as important as what we're there for to begin with. Yep. So we, trying to take and put that overall family orientation with it as well. Like a bit, that's the goal. And it's just this, man. It's I don't even know how to take and describe the feeling that just when I left down there today, how like Chief Mark Duke, he was chief of Jefferson. He's one of the hosting departments, man. Those guys were just overwilling to make sure we had everything we needed, and it takes a lot to put these things on, but there's so many sponsors and so many people that's donated to help make it happen. And we're trying to make sure that we put 150% back into the students.
Yeah.
So
good deal, man.
I'm looking forward.
I'm sure it's cool to see these things kind of. I've been out of the. I guess I've never really been in the conference circuit. I've been to a few little things, and I've taken training and classes like this here and there. But it's been several years since I've done anything. I've almost taken a step back just due to family situations and stuff like that. And I personally am looking forward to kind of getting into that myself. Hopefully this next year looks a lot different than this year did. But I love seeing people like you kind of creating these environments that are truly good, positive environments for people to come out and learn a lot from. So I want to go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just agreeing with you.
No, I was just going to give you guys a chance to. Is there anything else you kind of want to hit on or talk about before we get out?
Humpy, you got anything?
Oh man, I'm just ready for the conference to be here.
Man, a few words. All right, yeah, I'll do, man. I'll tell you this, Jeremy. I'll be honest with you. We talked about expectations and a standard, and I'm gonna tell you, I've really tried to take and eliminate so much in between. Simplify what we do, promote how important it is to be good at this job, to want to be good at this job, to look forward to coming to work, not dreading coming to work. Don't worry about the naysayers. Use that as motivation to go out and get them, because I promise you, if you keep on this track, you will draw people to you that you didn't expect would be there. That comes with it. And there's always going to be people that are against you or what you're doing, whether it's jealousy or they don't agree with what you're doing. But there's 4 simple rules that comes with creating a 24-hour standard for me. And that's you show up to work early. Early for me is, I get to work most time an hour and a half early. I don't expect everybody to do that, but I do expect them to take and be there 4 times to punch the clock, have time to check their gear, put their stuff on the truck, and be ready to go. And pass with the other shift, spend time talking in the bay with the other shift, because the culture that you create with that, what you're doing is you're building the relationship between those people, because you want to create a culture to where they never want to leave, but if they do, that's okay. You created and instilled courage and confidence in them to where they might not want to have done something if you didn't influence them. But you show up to work early, not going to separate. You're going to eat together at the table. You're going to train together, and you're going to take and do chores together. And a lot of officers, they'll say, "Man, I ain't doing that. I don't have to do that no more." And that's fine. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing, but you don't realize the culture you create if you influence people, if you get out there with them and clean toilets. Yeah. I told a guy one day, I said, "Man," look, I'm going to tell you something. You might not realize it, but there's, what the common ground between a toilet and a fire truck is?" He said, there's no similarity. I said, "There absolute there is." He said, "What is that?" I said, "You take care of both of them correctly. You check them, you clean them, make sure everything functions on them. They'll both save your ass every time." And he looked at me. I've never thought about that. I said, "Man, that's exactly what it is." And, it's it's one of those things. But those 4 rules, you absolutely do not deviate from that. And you have to, if you're in the position to where you're influencing others in a positive role, whether it's through however the role that you choose to do that is, you have to, as a leader, as a mentor, as a student, you have to trust them to make mistakes. Even though if it's not going to work, allow them to make those mistakes so they can see it for themselves, so they can self-reflect, they can grow, and they can get better. You got to allow, and it not being a detrimental way, but you absolutely have to, as a mentor, as a leader, whatever, especially when you're influencing others, you have to take time to self-reflect and self-evaluate yourself on a regular basis. You have to do it regularly. And because if you don't, it's really easy to allow yourself to vary from them and create and leave a culture that you help create. And you never want to do that to them, because if you lose that, you will disappoint them, and they might forgive you, which more likely they will, but they'll always remember that. And so I try to keep it simple in my own mind, set the expectation, do the work, and you're going to have guys or members that don't agree with it. They might not stay. They might stay. They might change their outlook, their perspective. But you know what? If somebody leaves and goes somewhere else, I promise you, they did is they created an opportunity for somebody else to come in and give you the opportunity to be better at what you just did. So it's, I think that's important. And that's kind of like the motto that we've thrown on the conference this year is, this is what we do to spread the good news. And simple saying. And I happened over a phone conversation a couple of weeks ago with a guy, and he said, "Man, that's what we got to do, spread the good news." And I was like, "Man, that's it." So, but that's as tough as it can be. It can be simple too.
Exactly. It's really, if you want to really boil it down, it comes down to, the more you invest in the people around you, the more you will gain in return. And that's all there is to it. It's the golden rule, really. If you want to even go simpler than that, if everybody just followed that, then we don't need libraries full of leadership and all these podcasts and everything. That's all it comes down to. You treat people like you want to be treated, and everything's going to be good. So we don't have to make it as hard as sometimes we make it.
That's right. You're exactly correct.
All right, guys, man, I really appreciate your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. It's, like always, I personally learn and grow from each of these, and I truly hope that there's a lot of people out there that spent the time to listen, because I know they're going to be gaining the same as well. I want to reiterate the Bears of the Oath Conference. It'll be October 2nd through the 4th in Jefferson, Georgia. So if you're out there and you have the opportunity to head to Georgia, then look these guys up. Go ahead and tell us where people can find and message you, or whatever information you want to give out.
You can take in there's a Facebook page. It's the Bears of the Oath Fire Conference, and it's got a breakdown and description of what's taking place that weekend, the event, and it's got a Eventbrite link to it where you can go and register and sign up for the classes you want. For everybody that comes to the class, of course, everybody likes a T-shirt, so you'll get a shirt, but we also will feed everybody. I think that's a big part of it, keeping everybody there together, eating together, and talking about their experiences the first part of the day. It might encourage somebody that was shy to engage the first part of the day. Just sitting down and eating lunch with them might encourage them to take, and it's okay to take and engage yourself if you're, whether you're timid, shy, or scared. And so we try to keep everybody together. We'll feed them. And But Facebook's there. See the Eventbrite links. They got the Bears of those webpage on Facebook and Instagram. Humpy, he's really good at keeping up with the page. He Instagram, I'm not as savvy on that, but I mean, it's anybody that's
I ain't either. That's why I gave it up.
Anybody got any questions, they can reach out to either one of us. Okay. Anybody that wants to come to the conference and they don't have the funds to get there, let us know. If you want to be a part of it, we'll get you there. Well, that's just part of the diligence. If somebody wants to come do that and get better and be with us and spend the weekend, I will give you that oath, and I will tell you that I will help you get there no matter what means it takes. So, and that's all it is, man, about spreading the good news.
Anything else, Lee? Does that sum it up for you as well?
Pretty much sums it up. Like I said, like Shane said, you need help getting there, we'll help you get there. So,
good deal. All right, man. Again, appreciate your time. I look forward to kind of. Yeah, Go ahead.
I left somebody out when I hate leaving people out. Man, I'm gonna tell you, there's something else cool about networking and what we're doing. What we was talking about earlier, man, is we was talking about Crew First and Duffy and build your culture, all these, but yesterday, phone call, Robert Ramirez, dude's coming. He's flying into Georgia, coming to the conference, gonna spend all weekend with us. And I said, you know what, man? That is a nugget for us that puts value on the RIT class, because he's really big on RIT, search and rescue. And you know what? His stuff is so good that I told him yesterday afternoon, I said, man, sounds like you just worked your way into opening up Rit or Die on Sunday, because his stuff is that good.
Yeah.
On the ply board outside when it starts with a marker and a poster board and a ply board, he said, that ain't on a PowerPoint projector. That's outside on the training ground. So, it's awesome to see these people that want to come join us and be a part of us. So, I mean, I didn't want to leave him out. I was sitting here thinking who all I left out. Man, I hope I didn't leave nobody else out, because there's so many to make this happen. But I thank you, man. I appreciate you very much for having me.
No problem.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jeremy. Thanks for inviting us on here.
No problem. I'm sure we will get together some more. Also didn't mention it really earlier, but these guys have their own podcast as well that they're kind of starting. And so look that up as well, Bears of the Oak podcast, and check their web or their pages out. Like I said, definitely some guys putting out the positive message and truly trying to further and better the fire service. And like I always say, these are the people that I want to connect myself with and want to promote and see them do well. So I enjoyed the time together and look forward to more in the future. So thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Once again, I want to thank everybody out there so much for spending some time with us today. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and got some good things out of it. Look forward to getting you back on next time. I want to take a minute to thank my sponsor. It's Woods Forcible Entry Door Kits. It's owned by a great group of guys doing great things for the fire service, and they put out a really good product. If you haven't heard of them, or if you're looking for some forcible entry props, definitely look them up on Facebook and Instagram at Woods Forcible Entry Door Kit. They are putting out some additions to their product that really kind of broaden out the spectrum of different techniques and skills that you can do with their props. So give them a shout, give them a look. Definitely got some good stuff. So thank you again. I hope that the days coming up treat you well. And until next time, stay safe, take care of each other.